Okay. Oh, I didn't expect so official music right now. Okay, shall we start? I see already also more than 30 people online also joining. That's perfect. So, good morning, dear colleagues and guests, and also, as I say, good morning to all the people online following us. Thank you for having joined us today, and welcome to the very first Animal Welfare Intergroup during the new term. So today we have an important date, as you know. We will elect the new president of this intergroup and appoint new board members in view of applying for the re-establishment also of this intergroup, which will require the official support of at least 3 political groups. So I never miss also to make a call. It's important that your political groups also support the Animal Welfare Intergroup. For all those who joined the Animal Welfare Intergroup after the European elections and who envisage joining, let me briefly say now a few words shortly about this intergroup. So it is the intergroup on the welfare and conservation of animals and is one of the longest running and best known cross-party groups of the European Parliament, which celebrated already 40 years last year. So during the 9th parliamentary term, it counted about 100 members from all political groups and most member states and met monthly in the European Parliament in Strasbourg. I think it's the second intergroup after the LGBTIQ intergroup, so not bad place. So we meet really every month in Strasbourg. Besides this meeting, it held several side events on different topical issues. And really the key strengths, and that's also my experience since the beginning, I'm in this intergroup first as member, then as chair, is really the strong personal commitment and motivation of so many members who work for the promotion of animal welfare initiative in the parliament. So the intergroup can thus pride itself for having had a continued, really concrete impact on animal welfare-related policy making during the last 4 decades of its existence. High profile, and really, I must say, I've learned always a lot. We had always high profile guest speakers that assure best possible information for MEPs and relevant, coherent, and also a diversity of choice of issues of debate contributed really of attracting a large number of parliamentarians. We must be aware that many European citizens consider really the European Parliament Animal Welfare Intergroup as really the focal point of debate and also on action, not only debate but also on action on animal welfare issues in the EU. So this puts really great responsibility on our shoulders, and we have to live up to their expectations and deliver really concrete results. So as an elected representative, you can really help to raise the voice of millions of citizens and of course also of billions of animals by taking an active part in the intergroup. So I must say, for me personally, without going in all the details, it has of course been a great honor but also a great pleasure to preside over this intergroup over the last 2.5 years, and yes, also a time with a lot of emotions, but as said already, also with a lot of very important informations and a lot of scientific facts I could use afterwards in argumentation, also when presenting amendments in exchange of shadow meetings or trialogues. So, and what I must say also, and I really want to say it to all the MEPs in the room and to the advisors here, it really created also strong connections between the MEPs, and quite like feeling at home in this intergroup, why I don't need to explain every time why I have such a big heart for animals and why I'm so motivated to defend them, because you are all like that too. So thank you for all that, and thank you for having been so present and so committed, and for all the good vibes and energy you gave to this intergroup. Voila, now we come to the very important moment before we start the items on the agenda. I will quickly give you some practical aspects about the running of this meeting. As usual, the meeting is streamed on Interaxio. It will be recorded, and the video recording will be uploaded on the Intergroup website, so that you know, as always. And we have also interpreters who are also always very patient with us, so also thank you to them. We have English, French, German, Italian, and Polish. Voila, and now to the main part of today is presentation of the two candidates for president. The moment has come to pass this chairmanship of this intergroup to another colleague, and I think it's very good that we have this kind of turnover, roulement. So we have two candidates for the post. It's Niels Fuglsang, from, what a nice name, by the way, from S&D, from Denmark, who is currently vice president of the Intergroup, and also Anja Hazekamp, which a lot of you know, from the left, from the Netherlands, and she is currently honorary president of this Intergroup. Voila, now I give the floor to Niels to present himself and to speak about this motivation, also why he wants to take over this chairmanship, and also maybe a few words on your vision, on your program for the Intergroup for the next 2.5 years. Niels, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Tilly. Dear colleagues, friends, animal welfare supporters, just about a year ago, I stood with many of you in front of the European Commission, urging them to put forward the proposals on animal welfare that they had promised. Our message was clear: keep your promises, deliver the proposals. We were talking about legislation on ending the cage age, phasing out the cages for farmed animals. We were talking about legislation on the protection of animals at the time of slaughtering. We were talking about legislation on animal welfare labeling. I wish I could say that this mandate would be about implementing those decisions, that they had been taken. But we all know that that is not the case. The Commission has not delivered on its proposal. I think it's an outright scandal, and I think that's something we need to use this intergroup to push for action on. On the bright sides, I think the good news are that things have been put in motion out there with the citizens. More and more people care about animal welfare, and I think this gives us a strength and gives us the momentum to make sure that this coming mandate will be different from the last one, that we'll get proposals on the table. We also now have an animal welfare commissioner, something that many of us have fought for years. I remember personally handing over more than 300,000 signatures to the European Commission with calling for an animal welfare commission. I think this is a very good step in the right direction. I think it will make a difference, because it means that we have somebody to say, you're responsible for this. Put the proposals on the table. Someone who can no longer say it's somebody else's responsibility, it's somebody else who has to do something. No, this is the person, and now we can use this as an asset for our work. And I can promise you, if you elect me as president of this group, I will do my utmost to make sure that the billions of animals that are suffering today because of inadequate, insufficient, outdated legislation, that we will work to have improved conditions, and that we will work to have these proposals on the table. We need the Commission to keep its promises and to deliver on the proposals. And that, I think, should be a focus of our working group. I also think that we need to use this intergroup as a strategic forum for influencing the proposals that are already on the table. We have proposals on the table on the protections of dogs and cats, and we also have proposal on animal transports that you, Tilly, among others, have worked hard for. And I think we need to coordinate across political groups in this intergroup to make sure that we get a majority that bans transports that are more than 8 hours long. I have myself, by the way, we were very close to getting this result in the ANIT work. It was just a couple of votes that made the difference. I think it's about time. Now we have the real legislation. We need to use this opportunity. I myself followed an animal transport last year, about a year ago, from Denmark to Italy. I drove behind the truck with 660 pigs. And I witnessed how the animals, the pigs, they suffered, screaming for hours on the German highway, how they had no food, how they were stuffed together, how the temperature was way too high, how the conditions were just unacceptable, and this trip lasted for more than 22 hours. There's work to do, friends. There's work to do on many aspects, and I have not mentioned all of them, but I think to use this forum as a strategic body where we can coordinate across groups will be so important. And that's why I'm running. And I think we have the momentum if you ask the people right now. I just want to say thank you to you, Tilly, for the last 2.5 years. I think you've been a great president. I think your inclusive way and dedicated way of working will be an inspiration. If I'm elected, it will be an inspiration for me. I think we can learn from that. And I think, Tilly, you managed to gather a lot of people around this work. And I think that is also for me, if you elect me, that is my ambition. I think the strength of this intergroup is that it is cross-party, that we unite a range of political groups for the same purpose, to improve animal welfare. And that is why I also think that MEPs from different political groups should take turns in presiding over this intergroup. I think that's an important principle. It increases our legitimacy and also increases our influence, I think. And also in that regard, I'm happy to run as being from the S&D group, who have not recently chaired the Intergroup for Animal Welfare. So that will be my words. Thank you for being present here today. I look very much forward to the work with you, and I hope for your support in the vote. Thank you.
Now, also the floor to Anja Hazekamp, also for 5 minutes, please. Anja, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Tilly, and thank you also, Niels, for your presentation. Well, welcome everyone. When I look around this room and I see so many MEPs, I think we should have an election more often, because a lot of people presented here, and we need all of you to make the change for animals in this new parliamentary term. My name is Anja Hazekamp. I'm a biologist and an animal rights activist from the Netherlands. Before I entered into politics, I worked for several universities and also several animal welfare organizations to improve the welfare of animals. I started my career in the field of alternatives to animal testing. And I also work with different animal welfare organizations, such as the Dutch Society for the Protection of Animals, the Seal Rehabilitation and Rescue Center, and also I'm looking at Raquel AAP, Animal Advocacy and Protection Rescue Center for exotic animals. And we were colleagues back then. Since 2007, I've become an elected representative for the Party for the Animals, first in the provincial state of Groningen, afterwards in the national parliament. And since 2014, I'm a member of this beautiful house, the European Parliament, for the Left Group. And throughout my whole life, whenever I had the opportunity, I tried to help animals. And as a young child, I brought back injured animals, and I don't think my parents were always so happy with that, but they supported me anyway. And nowadays, I follow trucks and vessels all over Europe and sometimes outside of Europe to bear witness and to report about the really horrible conditions in which we transport live animals. And I will spare you the details of also, not only because it is so terrible to listen to it, but also because I will start crying when I think about this. And I will not stop doing this. I will continue, and with all of you, there are people here in the room that do the same. I look at Thomas spending also hours on hills watching vessels. Animals deserve to live without suffering. So it is very important to work on that collectively. And for me, as a representative of the Party for the Animals, animal rights and animal welfare are my #1 priority. And during my time as a president of the Animal Welfare, I can tell you I was also very motivated to lead this group as your president. And we managed to gather a lot of support for so many proposals back then. Cross-party support for instance, making animal welfare part of the Brexit negotiations. A revision for animal welfare legislation as part of the Farm to Fork strategy. The establishment of the ANIT committee, of which Tilly was chair, which finally led to a legislative proposal on animal transport. Mandatory microchipping and registration of pets, which is now part of the Commission's proposal to protect dogs and cats. An action plan to phase out animal testing, taking the proposed ban on veggie burgers off the table, and a ban on the use of cages to liberate over 300 million animals that are still locked up in cages every year. And of course, not everything is finished. Still proposals and still promises of the Commission. So there is a lot of work to do, and we need to work together to keep up this very important work. And for me, my focus with this intergroup, I think, will be on making the legislation on animal transport and cats and dogs protection as strong as possible. And I work on these files as, in several committees as rapporteur and shadow rapporteur. To get the whole revision of the animal welfare legislation on the table, including slaughter, and of course all legislation for farmed animals, and to ban the cages. To finally realize a fur-free Europe and to end the fur industry in Europe. Fight wildlife trafficking and realize a European positive list for pets. Uphold the ban in trade of seal products. Uphold the strict protection of large carnivores. Well, I can continue for hours saying all my plans, but as Vice Chair of the Envy Committee, member of Agri, PESH and Sound committees, I will work on these issues and many more to protect the welfare of animals and place them on top of the agenda as well. To be successful, I think it is crucial that your new president is active in these committees as well, and to be active and work in the committees that have competence on animal welfare. Because that's the only way to have direct influence on all of these proposals. Influence the debates, the resolutions, and everything that is worked out in the negotiations. With that, I come to my conclusion that I really, really hope that I have your trust and confidence to be your president. Being able to lead this intergroup means a lot to me because this intergroup is very precious to me. So thank you again for your attention. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much to both of you for your presentations. It was a pleasure listening to both of you. Are there any questions? Please, if you have a question, to one or to the two of the candidates, please. It's the moment now. Yeah, we are already distributing also the ballots, but no question? Okay, but then maybe let me say, before you do, before the election, let me just remind you a few rules. First of all, only those MEPs can vote that registered already to the intergroup before the 12th of September. And also I have proxies. I have 4 proxies. So MEP Marie Toussaint gave a proxy to David Cormand. Martin Heusig has given his proxy to Misha Wiesik. Nico Stefanuta has given me his proxies. We have also MEP Omarjee has given his proxies to Emma Foureau. So, voilà. And there will be a secret ballot, and all MEPs receive 1, or if they have proxies, 2 voting sheets that should be compiled by ticking the preferred candidate, and then we put it into the ballot box that must be there, so you can, or maybe we circulate it, or do we put it, you see it, huh? And once all the members have voted, we will count the preference vote and report the results. I will, it's Reineke Hammelers and Andreas Erler will count the votes, but we, and I will ask maybe Petras to join me if he wants, from Renew, that we, the both of us control, so men, women, and different parties, that we take an overview about the counting also of the votes. And then don't forget, afterwards we're also making a group picture, so don't run away, also for the group picture that we are making afterwards. So
People can drop their voting forms in the ballot box.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's the easiest if you go yourself to the ballot box. You are not so many. I think we managed to not to lose too much. I need to. Oh, you want to want? We can also make it turn around.
No, I don't know. It's, you know, it was, I should have done it too. But then I said again, maybe next time.
Yeah.
So,
They can't vote themselves. Right? They can't vote themselves. The candidates don't vote themselves. No.
maybe I don't know how to next time. Stop.
We first separate and then we count.
Thought about that.
Do we not get a voting ballot?
Not that it matters.
No, we don't? Okay.
It's only one on both sides, so it doesn't.
No, it could be one. I think I vote for me. I vote for you.
Probably, yeah. But it's strange because I never did it. Yeah, that makes it so much fun.
That's why the educated will be co-chairs.
Oh, you do? You do?
Co-chairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should sign up for the
I have the results. So, for Anja Hazekamp, we have 11 votes, and for Niels Fuglsang, we have 18 votes. So we have a new president, Niels Fuglsang. And voila, and I will ask Niels to come over to this seat, and I will try to make some cleaning here. Yeah, sorry. And I leave the chair notes. There it is.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you also to you, Anja. I look forward to working with you as well, and with all of you. I mean, so many members have signed up for the intergroup. It's amazing. So I think we'll be a strong force, and that's certainly my ambition. So I'm just very thankful for the vote. So I just need to swallow it, but good stuff. So the next point on the agenda is the appointment of the honorary president, which is Tilly Metz. That's the proposal, and I want to, let's give a round of applause to Tilly. Thank you, Tilly, for having presided over this intergroup. I said it in my speech, and I'm sure Anja also feels the same way, that you have been a great president, really. I mean, and I think your way of doing it, I can just say from my side, your inclusive way and competent way, I think you've gathered a lot of people, and we want to thank you for that. And that's why we would like to appoint you as honorary president. And I don't know if you want to say anything, Tilly, but you're welcome to do so.
No, I think I said already enough yesterday and today. Thank you very much. I'm very honored, really. And of course, I will continue the fight for more animal welfare and even more animal rights. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tilly. Let's give a round of applause. Then we have the appointment. The next point is appointment of 2 new vice presidents. And we have 2 nominees for the post as vice presidents, Thomas Waitz from the Greens and Sebastian Everding from the left. And I would like to invite them to give a motivation. And you have 2 minutes for this motivation. Thomas, if you would start, that would be great. Thank you.
If the chair says so, I start. So you actually mentioned it in your speech. What I so much appreciate in this intergroup is that we're cross-party here, and that we have something that unites us, and this is empathy for animals. And I value this work cross-party here extremely. And it allows us to channel animal welfare issues into different political groups, but also into different parts of society. So we're not just members of groups, but we also have a background on where we're coming from, what our actual profession is. Most of us have a profession beyond being politicians, and where we're coming from, not just which country, but also which communities. Some of us are coming from cities, some of us coming from rural areas. So we have different audiences that we speak to, and that is something that makes us strong in here. Also, that we can include different perspectives on the animal welfare issue into our policy making. Well, we're not directly making the policy, but we're influencing it. This is also giving us strong opinions and strong leverage in our argumentation towards different parts of society and institutions. I think Anja also mentioned it. Many of you know that I'm a person that goes out and wants to see with his own eyes. So in terms of animal welfare, I worked on animal transport a lot. I'm quite active on also seeing with my own eyes what is going on, doing police controls, doing customs controls, but also hiding in the bushes, as Anja mentioned, and doing secret reports on what is going on, even if people don't know that there's an MEP somewhere filming what is actually happening. And there's a second aspect. I'm a farmer by profession. And I deeply believe, beyond the question whether we should reduce consumption or maybe go vegetarian or vegan at the end totally, but beyond that question, I strongly believe that farmers, most of the farmers want and farmers shall and should treat their animals with empathy. And in the whole also animal breeding sector, animals need to be treated with respect and empathy, whether it's transport, whether it's slaughtering, whether it's the animal breeding on the farms. And I know that many farmers have a heart for their animals. And so I'm standing for this part of farming, not the mass production, but the farms that have an overviewable amount of animals, that know the names of their animals, that have empathy with their animals. And as farmers are not, I would say, the usual suspects in this intergroup, I see also my role strongly to channel animal welfare issues into the farming community and into the different sectors that deal also with animal breeding, and to raise understanding, to search for allies, and to build bigger alliances, because bigger alliances is what we need to finally succeed to get animal welfare legislation done. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas, for those strong points. Then I would invite Sebastian Everding to give a statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Niels. Let me start with saying that I'm also very happy to be part of such an important intergroup with members from different groups and parties who share a common mindset. My name is Sebastian Everding. I'm from the German Animal Welfare Party, and I'm a complete newly elected MEP. I'm now member in Agri, Envy and PESH, where I work with my team together to ensure that animal welfare and animal rights are heard. Animal welfare issues have been for me for many, many years. I've been volunteered to run an animal shelter in Germany and have been involved for many, many years through the Dortmund City Council for foxes that are abused by dog clubs for the training of hunting dogs, which is unfortunately still legal in Germany. I've also been active in animal welfare abroad for many years and support an animal shelter in Tirana in Albania. In 2 weeks, I will be there again. By the way, a little fundraising campaign is currently underway. And as a member of the Albanian and Bosnia-Kosovo parliamentary delegation, I hope to be able to intensify this work for animals in these countries and the whole Western Balkan area. Another important point is the fight against killing centers, which also exist in Europe. Together with the intergroups and all of you members and teammates, as a vice president, I would like to bring our common goals for animals, animal welfare, even more strongly into the parliament in order to reduce animal suffering throughout Europe. Thank you in advance for your trust and support.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. And I think it was some strong statements from both of you. So I would say if there are no questions or objections, I invite you to appoint Thomas Waitz and Sebastian Everding as new Vice President of the Intergroup by acclamation. Thank you. Very good. Welcome to you on the team. I would draw this meeting to a closing. I would like to ask if there are any remarks or anyone who has thoughts. Then we have a little bit of time if we want to share some thoughts on the coming mandate, on what we need to work on. I see Tilly, you have raised your hand.
Yeah, I forgot something very, very important, and I don't want to leave this room without having said that. I want to thank you, two persons especially, and I did not do that. I did it yesterday in the reception, but I want to do it also here. A big thank you to the Eurogroup for Animals, to Reineke Hammerles and to Andreas Erler and to the whole team for their very precious work they have done the 2.5 years by organizing, by giving us information, by working, by being also very nice and supporting. So I really want a big applause for the both of them, and yeah, that I wanted to do today.
Thank you, Tilly. Petrus, you had remark?
Yes, good morning to everybody. Congratulations to our leadership. Looking forward. We have to do a bit more in, in anticipation of some legal acts and decisions to have an ability to project what is coming, to correct, to steer a bit, and to influence politically the decision-making process in the European Union institutions all over. I'm very happy that the Commission is given a title of Animal Welfare. Let's see how he will go through hearings in this regard. I will open up a bit of secret agreement with von der Leyen. You remember in July we voted for her, and she was somehow then greeted by many members of this House. It took some time. I mean, the queue was very long. I waited for 10 minutes, and then I came to the plenary, and I see that still she was standing and was greeted by some members. I approached her and I said, you know, Madam President, I would allocate to you 2 tasks. First one, to win a war in Ukraine, and the second, to have a commissioner with the title for animal welfare. She looked at me and she said, look, I can't promise on the first one. It will take time and probably efforts, to achieve. But for the second one, so we can shake hands. So I'm very happy. She kept her word. On a serious part of my intervention, I would really propose having again within our intergroup a group specialized on companion animals. We have to push because it's still lacking behind overall understanding on animal welfare policies in the European Union. And I think we might be even more active and proactive in this regard. So I'm already indicating interest in this regard. Thank you.
Thank you, Petrus, and happy to hear that you pushed for the Animal Welfare Commission and we got a result out of it. Then we see what happens with the hearings, but whatever happens with this candidate, I think the title, the job description is there. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thomas, you have raised your hand.
Thank you. As we once again see, success has many fathers and mothers, and that's part of our strength here. Two things I wanted to, one thing I wanted to share and one thing I wanted to motivate you to. We're going to start working on the animal transport legislation, most likely still in October, but now in autumn. Please try within your groups to get a rapporteurship, because the more people we have around the table that have experience, that know what is going on, and that have empathy for animals, the more we have around the table, the better the result will be. And the second thing I wanted to share with you, I had an early meeting with the most likely future Commissioner for Agriculture, Mr. Hansen, and he himself mentioned the need for an animal welfare labeling of products in the European Union. So I think we might have an ally there, and I think this might also be something we might be able to deliver in this mandate. So there seems to be a certain openness on the side of Agri Commissioner, which is not, which could be helpful to actually reach the goal.
That's good information, Thomas, and I absolutely agree with your call for coordinating with regards to animal transport. We need to use this group, I think, to push that. So that's also a pledge from me. We will initiate work on that. Yes, please, Mr. Zambrano.
Io sono in questo intergruppo.
I'm in the intergroup for sort of a well-being conservation of animals, and I think there are a number of issues that are divisive in other areas. The war in Ukraine, for example, which would keep potential members away from the animal welfare group. So I think what we need to do is ensure that we can be successful in terms of the aims that we set ourselves.
Thank you. Absolutely agree. Anja.
Yes, thank you, Niels. Well, let me start by congratulating you, of course, with your new as being president of this intergroup, and be aware I will keep an eye on you and make sure that you do what you promised here. I want to congratulate also Sebastian and Thomas, of course, and Tilly as being our honorary president, and thank you for all the work you did the last 2.5 years. Rest me to make sure that everyone here in the room is there at the beginning of the votes at 11:50 outside of the plenary. There is a photo action for the release of Paul Watson, who is being in jail in Greenland for protecting our whales. So we cannot let that happen, and I think the European Union must take a clear stance against his arrest and ask for immediate release, because protecting animals is not a crime. Thank you.
Thank you, Anja. Sebastian, you have raised your hand.
Damit die Übersetzer
So that our interpreters have a little bit to do, I'm going to be speaking in German so that the interpreters actually serve a purpose. One plea to other members, 1 or 2 weeks ago, we talked about some distribution of intergroups. I think it's important that we are able to act individually also. So I think it's important that we reach out to members of other groups. So if you are to sort of advocate measures, involve us as co-signatories so that when it comes to submitting motions to the Commission concerning animal welfare issues, that we have rest on a broad majority rather than going it alone.
Thank you, Sebastian. And that's absolutely a good idea. I think we've used this intergroup before to also collect signatures, to reach out in different political groups, and that's a very useful forum for that. So I think we should do that as well. All right. Mark, please.
Yes, thank you, Niels. I would also like to congratulate you and also the Bureau of this intergroup and all the colleagues who are very active. I'm a new member. And what I think is very useful from intergroups, and I come from a small delegation, it's voting alerts. Sometimes you do not realize that there is something hidden in, in small delegations you have to do your whole voting list, you're quite alone, and sometimes you miss a detail. And I'm the co-chair of the LGBTI intergroup, and we send out voting alerts to see. Watch it. Here you can harm something if you vote the wrong way. So I think this is something which is very useful in intergroups, and I hope that you will support us with telling us how we will have to vote on the a lot of the votes are very obvious, but there is this non-obvious things where we would need to be alarmed about. Thank you very much.
That's absolutely a good idea, Mark. I think there are many things that are not obvious when you have a voting list with 300 amendments. It would be useful to have these kind of alerts. I can just say, Sebastian, to your comment, actually we already have the first initiative that's going on, that is being organized by the Eurogroup, is an oral question to the Commission on the legislation that has not been delivered, that has been promised but not delivered, that both Anja and I mentioned. We are sending an oral question, and I think we'd like to coordinate to see if we can get your signatures and the signatures of the people you know. So that is an example of doing what you're saying, Sebastian. I think it's useful. Thank you very much. I will draw this meeting to a close. I will just have some closing remarks, some information to you, which is that, as mentioned by Tilly in the introductory remarks, all cross-party groups who wish to get established as an EP intergroup, they need official support from at least 3 political groups to be able to run as parliamentary intergroups and receive support, logistic support for the organization of the meetings. It's very important for us, of course, to be registered and recognized officially by the parliament, as it's not likely that all applicants, all intergroup applicants will be able to get this support. We will work for the support from our side, and we call on you to see in your group if we can get your group support to the establishment of the Animal Welfare Intergroup. The application procedure for the establishment will start by the end of the month of September, and in October. The political groups will negotiate the support they intend to give to various applicants. The competition might be fierce. Those who don't succeed will have to run as MEP groups instead of being an intergroup, and they will have less visibility and support. So it's very important for us to be recognized as an intergroup, and that will happen by the end of this month and in October as well. So I think we'll reach out to you to also see if we can get support from your group, if you can help us with that. I'd like to also just to remind you that if you want to join the Animal Welfare Intergroup, I think most of the people who are here, they've already joined, but if there's some who haven't and consider, you can register for it at the Animal Welfare Intergroup website. And maybe that's also relevant for the colleagues in your groups. Maybe some of them would like to join. They can just do it on the website, or they can write me or Reineke or Andreas or whoever. We will help them. But go to the website, that's the easy part. On Tuesday, the 1st of October, Eurogroup for Animals and 4 Paws will hold a photo exhibition called Silent Suffering, exposing the reality of animals in Europe. And this will be held at the Royal Library of Belgium from 5 o'clock in the afternoon to 7:30, and you're very welcome to join. Last thing I would like to say is that the next session of the intergroup will be held the 10th of October from 10 to 11. The item of the debate is likely to be on the dog and cat proposal, which will be dealt with in the Agri and Envy committee. We hope you will be able to attend. And the last thing I will then say is that I think we should make a group photo. So if you want to come down here, the MEPs.
Yeah.
MEPs, and then the Eurogroup as well, I suppose, and we'll take a group photo. Thank you very much, and see you soon.